The blue filter Godzilla always has in the MonsterVerse? Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. He is literally creating it himself because of his own radiation. He is aura farming so hard, he is altering the atmosphere and brings his own mood lighting. This is why I love MonsterVerse Godzilla. Especially because it all actually makes sense scientifically. The interesting thing about this is that it actually fits with MonsterVerse Godzilla's nature. He doesn't want to fight, or rather, more specifically, he doesn't want to kill other Titans. It's why he rather goes for intimidation preemptively to stop a potential opponent before a fight actually ensues. So, aura farming is actually the much more natural outcome, and it allows for these awesome cinematic shots to actually have an in-universe justification with him actively showing off in front of, well, enemies and humanity about why you don't mess with him or step on his turf. This applies to both during the day and during the night, but I mean, particularly during the day, during that fight with Kong in the middle of the ocean, posing himself, in front of those flames, circling around the human ships, making sure Kong and the humans see him, so both of them back down, just like he did the same thing at Castle Bravo in KOTM. However, all of this could actually be taken one step further because of actual science, and it could be made like 10 times better. Hi everyone, I'm Max Allo, your favorite dummy dinosaur, American Allosaurus. If you enjoy some colossal kaiju content, don't forget to subscribe for more. And yes, I know I was supposed to put out the kaiju story video last week. Let's just say I realized I forgot to have an entire section in it written out, and writer's block kind of sucks. So that is on me. So feel free to harangue me in the comments, and next week hopefully that should be out. That blue glow is Godzilla's radiation. It's the same reason his atomic breath is, and really should be, blue. Ionizing radiation stream that causes the air to glow by emission of light. Which is something that shows just how much power Godzilla has. So much radiation is just emanating from his body passively that it energizes the air so much it is glowing. The real world science behind this is actually that during the Chernobyl disaster, it was noted there was a blue column of light coming out of the reactor. Especially pronounced in King of the Monsters, where when Godzilla makes landfall in Boston, the movie has this blue filter plastered across it. Now, this is done as mood lighting because Godzilla's in charge, this is his fight to win, but it's also noted that Godzilla's radiation is exceptionally high after receiving that boost from Serizawa detonating the nuke. Again, this perfect melding of rule of cool with, atmospheric lighting, and actual stuff that is backed up in movie, which just makes it all even better. And doing this actually makes a lot of sense for him. As a character, he is actually a bit more passive in showing how strong he is, not through direct displays of force. In terms of anything that wants to fight him, he immediately launches the fight. He would rather simply intimidate them to back down and stop a potential challenger before they actually fight him. A very subtle way of saying, "don't mess with me," is quite literally altering the area around them to show how strong you are. Now, this only works at night when it is dark. It'll get overpowered by any source of light, like the sun. But that's just simply a completely different level of flexing on someone. But there's actually one way to crank this up a little extra notch that would be a little bit more of a liberal application of science, but still utilizing real-world science. We know that when nukes are detonated in the upper atmosphere, they can create an aurora, or rather they do create auroras. You know, those big, pretty lights that are going on throughout the sky for miles? Yeah, they're kind of awesome. I've actually seen one up close. Well, seen one where I live. It's great. Legitimately magical. Imagine if Godzilla's presence created an aurora when he was there. Just him showing up would not just the blue glow to signal where he is, but just the sky lighting up with blue fire, the earth shaking, and just the water receding even before he makes his presence known. These premonitions. Things that would just lean a little bit more on that idea that the ancients revered him as almost a godlike figure. Oh, man, this is really making me want like a feudal Japanese set MonsterVerse movie or just a Godzilla movie in general. Man, that'd be so cool! Another route that could be used with this is actually as the fight is raging and becoming more and more intense with some use of low angle shots, showing it go from this complete darkness to gradually becoming lighter and lighter as an aurora grows overhead from the amount of radiation the kaiju are giving off. Now when it comes to other battles, particularly those during the day, Godzilla can't utilize this, not even bioluminescence, but this, ionizing radiation effect to create the glow as an intimidation effect. He can't use that during the day. So, when it comes to during the day in these highly visible shots, what does he do? He goes for intimidation through use of putting himself in a position to look as imposing as possible, to show off how strong and how powerful he is. This works on most kaiju. It doesn't work on something like, say, King Ghidorah, which is why he doesn't bother with it. And why he goes straight for the kill on him. Ghidorah's kind of a special case, and Godzilla's, not wanting to kill things. It takes a simple look from him to quiet Rodan when Rodan is actively attempting to challenge him. And it makes Rodan the first one to bow down to him at the end of KOTM. Despite the fact that he, in entirety, is absolutely justified in making a set of extra crispy dino chicken nuggies. Which, one, plays into the merciful and really not wanting to fight aspect of Godzilla. If he doesn't need to, he's more than happy to let it slide as long as they stay in line. This is the reason why he goes to try to attack Kong in Godzilla vs. Kong, but not kill him. He does go to make some grilled gorilla, but opts to spare Kong, because Kong actually backs down along with humanity in this fight. And to punctuate this, Godzilla circles the entire naval fleet and positions himself right in front of those burning ships he already sank earlier. So the fire is backdropping him. He is looking Kong dead in the eyes, making sure Kong saw he was circling around him, showing he can still fight. And after Kong gives up and humanity gives up, then he leaves. It is a fantastic display of dominance, letting all of them know he could have ended them right then and there, and he chose not to. He knows how powerful his own aura farming is. At the end of KOTM in Boston, despite the fact that those kaiju came to Boston and bowed before him, that wasn't all of the kaiju. There still were others that were insubordinate, ones like Tiamat who still needed to be put into her place, as well as, of course, the continuously defiant Kong, which is why he did that triumphant roar. It wasn't simply in triumph over the fact he had killed Ghidorah and for the kaiju assembled in front of him, but rather across the entire world, those who were not there, to let them know he's back in charge, and he will not tolerate them stepping out of line. At least, not without a fight. And to a lesser degree, humanity to stop absolutely fucking things up. Which, humanity never stops doing that. This is what really makes MonsterVerse Godzilla such an interesting version of the character. Because these epic cinematic shots are shots he is doing by his own intention. It kind of almost like that pro wrestler way of, he will simultaneously fight with just not quite minimal effort, but he won't think overly complex solutions to fights. He will go and he'll just bulldoze things with pure brute force. At the same time, he will style on them to show just how outclassed his opponents are. Again, except in the case of King Ghidorah, where he knows this is not going to work, and it is to go for simple pragmatism. He also drops this when fighting up against Kong in Godzilla vs. Kong, and he decides he's not gonna spare Kong. There are no second chances. He's just gonna straight up kill Kong. That fight where Godzilla kills Kong there is not a fight. It is 44 seconds where Kong ambushed Godzilla, got in one shot on his head, and Godzilla did not even react to it. And then, for the remainder of the, 40 seconds of that fight, ragdolled Kong across Hong Kong. When Godzilla actually cuts loose, it is terrifying. Because the other time, he's kind of trying to make a show about it to intimidate what he's fighting and show just how outclassed they are and get him to back off. It's such a interesting dynamic. I really hope they bring back in Supernova, but I have my doubts. But that should really be all for today, ladies and gentlemen of the audience. If you guys haven't done so already, don't forget to leave your thoughts, comment below, like for more. It is what helps push the video out so more people can see it, and subscribe for more. What is, really your favorite thing about MonsterVerse Godzilla? The constant aura farming, the idea that maybe he could create these auroras by showing up and just, existing passively. What about that blue filter, which, I love it. I think it's great. And yes, as I said before, I have been suffering a bit from writer's block with regard to my kaiju stories over the past week and some change. I had to go back and make some corrections. And by corrections, I mean I had to go rewrite a significant portion of it because I just straight up realized I forgot to include a thing which I wrote in my notes. Okay, this is how the stuff is going to go. And I left out a pretty major piece, so I have to go back and fix all of that, and that is taking longer than expected, and have to re-record all of it. And writer's block can go suck an absolute railroad spike. So hopefully next week that'll be out. I will see you guys then. I have been your Dino Demi, your American Allosaurus, Max Allo, and long live the Kaiju King.